Hi, YouTube. Hello, hello, hello. I don't know if we're live. I think we're live on YouTube. Hi. Welcome to my channel again. This is Ewan Sarabo Sangbedo. I hope you're well. So this is the part 2 of the video that we did earlier. Thank you for all who joined. Thank you for being here. If this is your first time on my channel, please like, please share, please subscribe. The reason I've decided to do this video again, the part 2 of it, is because I didn't have the time to share what I wanted to share on the when I did the first live video. So I wanted to share the video that of from Sky News and the page, just to give you the story um um for that case about Bronsby Battersby, talking about social interaction. If you remember the first video that I did today, we talked about social interaction, the importance of social interaction. So I just wanted to share. Let me share. So I'm going to share. Can you hear me? I hope you can. Give me a thumbs up if you're here. About social interaction. If you remember the first video that I did today, let me mute this. About social interaction, the importance of social interaction. Yeah. So if you're here, please give me a thumbs up. So I'm going to share the story so you actually see, because when I finished the video earlier, there was like a timeline, like a history of how the social worker tried to, connect with the family. Remember, we talked about welfare check. So I'm going to share my screen so that we read it together. Again, the story is about the importance of social connection. We're talking about why we should reach out to those that are vulnerable in our society, in our family. They say charity begins at home. So the importance of us reaching out to those people and that, do not have people that look after them alone, they're elderly, they're young children. It's very important that we reach out to them. And I was having a conversation with my sister earlier. We talked about no man being an island. We need each other. Social connection is very essential for us as human beings. So this story, what prompted the first live video that I did was about this young man, Bronsby Battersby. It's a 2-year-old chap who died. Sky News said he was found between the legs of his dead father, Kenneth Battersby, on the night of January. This happened in 2024. Okay, so that's the picture of the young man, 2-year-old young child. Obviously, I think the story is that he lived with his father. So we'll just read it together. Anyway, it says, there is a likelihood a 2-year-old boy might still be alive if his father had not suffered the fatal heart attack over Christmas, a pre-inquest hearing has heard. Bronsby Battersby was found between the legs of his dead father, Kenneth Battersby, on 9th of January in their home in Skegness, Lincolnshire. Circumstances suggest Bromson died after his 60-year-old father, Coroner Jane Weeks, told the pre-inquest review hearing at Greater Lincolnshire Coroner Court on Tuesday. So his father died and then he died. The story, yeah, there's a picture of his father who suffered a heart attack. There's a pic. I think they got the picture of Facebook. 60-year-old man. He's got a 2-year-old son. Likely some background story which we don't know, about their life, family, what's going on with them, which at this point we don't know if it matters or not. But what we have is a case of a 60-year-old man. We have a 2-year-old son as well, and both of them died. And carrying on, he says there's to be a likelihood that had Kenneth not passed away, that Bronson, that's the 2-year-old, will still be alive. At present, we do not have any clear factual basis as to when Bronson passed away. He was, of course, pronounced deceased on 9th of January 2024. But that is not on the information we have been provided so far. Likely to be the day he had died. So likely he had died before that time, and it says we do not have sufficient information on when he died. They are not sure because he was found dead, and stories that he was found in between his father's lap where he died. It says he lived in a basement, so that's a neighbor. I don't know if this if I can share my audio. I'll come back to see if we can share the audio. It says he lived in the basement flat in Prince Alfred Avenue with his father, who had separated from the boy's mother. So we also do not know the story why, this child was taken from the mother and given to the father. We don't know. Okay. So a neighbor had called the police to report that she had not seen Mr. Battersby for several days, and there was a smell coming out from the flat. An inquest opening was told in June. Mr. Battersby was determined to have been caused, so his death was likely caused by sudden cardiac events because he had underlying heart disease. The coroner had told the hearing. Again, this is, little Bronsby Battersby that died because his father died. And it says a post-mortem examination of Bronsby notes low body fat and muscles, and he appeared malnourished, Mrs. Weeks said. His cause of death was recorded as dehydration. So you can imagine a 2-year-old boy who was hungry, who was thirsty. There was no father. And at that point, there was no mother. And we don't know when his father died. It's likely his father died, say, maybe on a Monday. We don't know. So this boy lived for a couple of days by himself, 2-year-old, without food, without drink. And the story goes on to say that there was little excuse me, limited food in the fridge, and limited food items that were obviously of no use to Bronsby. So even if he had food in the fridge, 2-year-old, how can a 2-year-old access the fridge? I'm just trying to picture that, you know. Anyway, 2-year-old we have now, father died. So there's the timeline of the tragedy here, as we can see. It says December 26th. This will be December 26, 2023 now. It says a neighbor said she had last seen Bronson and his father, Kenneth, on Boxing Day on their way to the shop in town. Okay. She said they had waved and had big smiles. And then 27th, which is the day after, the same neighbor received a text from Kenneth saying, "Thank you both for caring about me and Bronson. It means the world to us. It really does. And then the social worker also spoke to Kenneth on that 27th of December 2023 and arranged to visit on the 2nd of January. Okay, that's a welfare check, which is very good. We talked about that earlier in our first video. So this is the follow-up video, just trying to create a timeline. So 26th, he was seen. 27th, he sent a message to his neighbor and he spoke to the social worker. So that's the last social connection that we have, or that is recorded, of this family. Then on the 1st of January, so 26, 27, 28. So let's start from 27, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31st. So do we have 31st and 31 days in December? Remind me, put in the comment sections. I remember that's on 30 days at September, April, June, and November. Yeah, so we have December 31st, actually. Yeah, so 27, 28, 29, 30, 31st. That's 4 days in between. On the 1st, the neighbor messaged Kenneth now. So 5 days, and there was no answer. Then on the 2nd, social worker visited the property. There was no answer. She contacted the police and checked other houses for Bronson. So the last time social worker spoke to them was 27th of December, and next time 2nd of January. Okay. No answer on the 2nd of January. The social worker did contact the police, and then they tried to check. So it's likely that there is history where the father and the son are not in the house. I believe that's the reason why the social worker decided to check other houses for Bronson. Okay, so 2nd, they checked other houses for Bronson. Obviously, he was in there. On the 4th, the social worker visited again and again received no answer and contacted the police. Okay. It's interesting. On the 2nd, the police were informed. Maybe they say, oh, he's an adult who might, he might come back, or maybe there's been history where he's not contactable, if that's the right word. So nothing was done on the 2nd. Nothing was done on the 4th of January. Then 4th of January, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th of January, that was when the social worker were given access to the property by the landlord. and discovered the bodies of father and son. So you can imagine from December 27th, where he last spoke to somebody or tested somebody, till 9th of January. How many days do we have in between? 28, 30, 31st, 28, 29, 30, 31st, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're talking about 13 days, almost 2 good weeks where he was not, there was no access to him. He could not be contacted. So two whole weeks. In that 2 weeks is when he died. In that 2 weeks is when his baby son, 2-year-old Bronson, starved to death. So the council in charge of this case, Lincolnshire County Council, said that the family had been known to children's services and social worker, and the social workers had been seeing them at least once a month. And a spokesperson said a social worker contacted the Battersby on the 27th and arranged a visit for the second, which obviously they didn't respond to. And the story continues that selfies taken by Bronsby on the 31st of December. Okay. And Mr. Battersy's financial account were among pieces of information used or needed to create a timeline of their death. So if he took a selfie on the 31st of December, so the time of death would have been between the 1st and the 9th. We don't know when exactly, but it would have been between that time. So investigation continues that in September, it said there was no indication any officer or staff member breached professional standard. Okay. Mr. Weeks said the full inquest into the boy's death is unlikely to take place before early autumn next year. So just going back to this story, how sad it is, just reiterating the importance of us reaching out to each other, looking after ourselves, people in our family. Like I said earlier, if this man obviously would definitely have family members somewhere, but nobody checked on him. We don't know the reason. And this is not an avenue to judge or say, oh, what did they do? What did they not do? We don't know the reason why this happened, but let's learn from this. If we've got family members who we think are at risk, let's reach out to them. And you also begin to wonder, what if it was me, God forbid, in this situation, and that person is lying down there for days and nobody is really concerned. Nobody's really concerned. If there was somebody who was that concerned, if God forbid, if it's your relative, you would break the door down. You say, I know they are in there. You would break the door down because you want to see what's going on, especially where a 2-year-old child is. But in this case, it didn't happen. And sadly, father and son died. Just want to end this video with this message that let's look after ourselves and let's look after people around us. Let's make social connection. No man is an island. We need each other. It might not be financially, but in terms of social connection, emotional stability, just maintaining that relationship with others in a positive way, it is very good. And I hope somebody learned something from this video. Anyway, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so much for being patient, because like I said, I've done this video before, but I decided to do it again because I could not share the video properly. I could not share the um what you call it, everything. I wanted to go through it like I just did, but I could not do that earlier when I did the first live video. So on that note, so thank you so much for always supporting Divinely Classic. If this is your first time on my channel, please subscribe to my channel. And thank you. Yeah, let me just say that. Thank you to all our new subscribers. I have a lot of new subscribers now. Every day I see people subscribing. I do appreciate you. Please continue to subscribe, continue to follow our channel, and I'll see you on my next video. Have a